Okay, well, hi everybody who's watching this so far. My name is Fraser Cain. I'm the publisher of Universe Today, and it's our virtual star party for May 27th, 2012. So we've got a pretty cool lineup tonight. It's actually a perfect night for viewing the moon, and we've actually got 2 live views of the moon tonight. So I'm just going to go through everyone who's who's joined us tonight. So we've got Chris Ridgeway, which he's that big yellowish moon that we're seeing right now, and we've got Gary Gonella, who's showing his view of the Ring Nebula right now.
Good evening.
We've got Howard McCall, who's actually showing some images he took last night of using a surgical eye telescope. We've got Peter Lake, who's in Australia right now, but he's showing us a view of, is it Comet Garad? Is that right?
Yeah, Comet Garad, that's correct.
Yep, and you can kind of see the tail there. And then we've got Roy Salisbury, who's got a beautiful view of the moon as well. And then my sort of cohort in explaining the science is Scott Lewis.
Hi, everybody.
There's Scott. All right. Well, let's just start with this beautiful view of the moon, because I know, Chris, you're going to run out of the moon pretty soon, right?
Yeah, not too long from now, it looks like.
But it is an absolutely perfect night for viewing the moon. I mean, it's not too bright, it's not too much of a sliver. You got a really nice view of the Terminator there. It's just phenomenal. Look at that. And so what are you doing? What's your setup for this?
My 8-inch Meade hooked up to my Canon DSLR, and I have a focal reducer of f6.3 to get the full moon in the view.
So you don't have... Oh, you got a focal reducer. So what does the focal reducer do?
Shortens the focal length of the telescope.
And so if you didn't have the focal reducer in, it would be like a much more magnified image?
Yes.
That's really cool. Well, what's that sound?
Sorry, I got that.
Hello.
And then just to show you that this is completely legit, this is absolutely the moon as we're seeing it right now. Here's a view of Roy Salisbury. Now, Roy, what's your setup for this?
This one is done off of my 106mm refractor, and I'm not using the webcam to do this. This is done with my CCD camera, and because it's such a sensitive camera, I'm actually having to shoot this through my hydrogen alpha filter, 7nm hydrogen alpha, so very little light come through, and 5/1000th of a second. So just enough to open the shutter and let some light in, and that's it.
Now, can you get? I know you can show us some different views, right? You can see a bit of it, like further out or closer in.
Yeah, I can zoom out and get to the.
So what's the kind of natural size? Like, what would be the size of the image you would be naturally capturing?
The natural would be. Nope, I just took another one. Would be right there. That's normal size.
And you can see the different rotation. It all just depends, right? I mean, there's no up or down. It all just depends, except for maybe Peter. He might see it all as upside down. But although his telescope's located in North America too, so.
Now you've got some great detail going on there, Roy. I'm loving that.
Yeah, it's the temperature's changing enough out there right now, so I'm starting to lose a little bit of the focus. But it's still good enough.
And so you've got the 106. So that's a refractor, right?
Correct.
Right. So it's not a reflector. So Chris's telescope is an 8-inch reflector telescope. So it's the one that uses a mirror to focus the light.
That's a Schmidt, actually.
It's a Schmidt Cassegrain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Roy's view, this one is the one with a refractor, so it's actually using, it's like an old-timey telescope, right? Where you're looking through lenses that are bending the light. It's exactly like that. You're a pirate, and you hold it up to your eye and look off to the horizon. So.
Yeah, if you see a pirate holding this up to his eye, you gotta wonder what's going on.
And then another live view here is Gary's view of the Ring Nebula, and this is, for me, this says summer. As soon as I see this, I think, oh, it's warm weather, it's summer, the Ring Nebula.
And that's the first we're seeing of it. Again, looking at the scope real quick, you can see I'm real low on the horizon. So,
but it's going to get higher over the course of the summer.
Absolutely, as we do each one, it'll get higher. This is a 60-second exposure with no binning, so I could get the detail. And
the Ring Nebula is great because it's one of these objects that's really easy to find, and you can see it in almost any telescope. I mean, the shape is so recognizable. So during summer, when the summer constellations get a little higher, the three bright stars in the sky they're three separate constellations. They're Cygnus, Altair, I think Lyra, and I always forget what the other one is. Is that right? Anyway, so Lyra is the is the one with the brightest, and the brightest star in Lyra is Vega, and sort of in that constellation is this little object, this little ring, and it's a supernova remnant. So it's one of these situations where a star detonated as a supernova thousands of years ago, and is leaving this debris cloud in its wake. Or is it a planet? No, it's a planetary nebula. Sorry, never mind.
No, it's still an exploded star.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's a supernova.
No, it's a white dwarf remnant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, but I love it because even on a small telescope, like a 4-inch, 6-inch telescope, you can definitely make out the ring structure of it. Really, really obvious. Now, Scott, you got a story. You got also an image of the Ring Nebula, but you got a bit of a story for this, right?
Right. Actually, one of our new astronomers we're working with over in Finland, and I will try not to botch his name. I've been working with him now that his audio is better, but it's Jukka Laakso. And we worked about 3.5, 4 hours ago on his imaging, and this is also the Ring Nebula. This is actually me doing a screenshot of our hangout and cropping it, putting it up into Photoshop, and sharing it with you guys. He's actually doing some more processing and should have them emailed to me by tomorrow. I believe we did M13, M57. Let's see, we did M5 and M15, and I believe M3 as well. But he's one of our new coming astronomers we're hoping to get involved from the other side of the Earth. He's got, I think, 4 telescopes at his disposal, and he also has a really nice CCD as well. I have his list buried in my email somewhere because I still need to compile it all. But
right, but I mean, you did your test with him, and you were able to stream this right into the Hangout, and you just grabbed a snapshot from it. Absolutely, yeah. It's coming through great, and I'm really excited about it. He's got some good images from up there. Yeah, so as always, if anyone is watching and wants to participate, more astronomers is better. We're always glad to get more views. So yes, and if anybody's out there in the southern hemisphere that has not contacted me, please do. We really want to get some of those southern skies going on. Yeah. So Scott has been pitching in and helping people sort of run through the paces and sort of see the setup and help with their audio and sort of get them into the star party. So thanks again, Scott, for all your help. So this is Roy's setup here. Like I said, old-timey pirate telescope. Now this is real time of it.
Yeah, that's a live view.
Right. So we got a live view of your telescope. Call you Roy the Pirate from now on. Yeah. That's great. Now, so are you at your observatory right now?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, are you taking the holiday weekend off, or?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Because I know you've got a bit of a drive to get out there. Now, you're in the process of automating the whole system, though, right?
Yeah, hopefully within the next month or so, I should have this roof automated so I can open and close it from my house in Las Vegas and take pictures anytime I want.
Oh, that'll be phenomenal. Oh, here we go. So Chris is back, and now he's zoomed in. So in this case, Chris, you just took out the focal reducer, or you actually switched cameras, right?
Yes, I switched cameras to my Logitech webcam.
That's really cool, though. So you've just got like a straight-up Logitech webcam. How have you hooked this webcam up?
Well, I took the lens off of the webcam, and then exposed.
Stop! That's awesome.
Right there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Shadows.
Oh, beautiful shadows. That's amazing.
Yeah, I just took the lens off, exposed the CCD, and then basically, like I told Pamela, I duct taped a old eyepiece barrel onto the end of the webcam, and then stick it into my star diagonal.
Wow.
That's phenomenal.
I can go right up that Terminator.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
And so the Terminator is this line between the bright and the dark on the moon. Wow. And the tracking on your telescope is just amazing. What mount have you got?
I've got the stock LX90 mount. It's a fork mount.
Yeah, it's just rock solid.
Yeah, you've got some great images coming through there, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
The detail coming through is phenomenal.
There we go.
I always forget. Is that Tycho?
This is crater Theophilus,
Wow.
right in the center of the view there.
And so you can see right in the very center of that crater, there's like a central peak. And this is one of those situations where you had an asteroid smash into the surface of the moon, impact, and then you get this splash of material coming back down and forming the central peak in the middle. And you can see a little shadow on that central peak. Actually, a lot of the craters have this. Wow, phenomenal. So, Peter, why don't you sort of explain your comet picture to us?
Yeah, so this is Comet Garrod. Now, comets, when you see the designations of them, they start with C for comet, / the year of discovery, which is 2009 P1, and the person who discovered it, which was Mr. Garrod on this occasion. So this comet's been around for a little while. You'd probably, a number of you would remember the big kerfuffle around Comet Lennon, which was very interesting to say the least, but it kind of dominated the headlines in the the social media space for some time. And Comet Garrod sort of snuck through quite without a lot of fanfare, and it's been a beautiful comet, and you can see it there. The photo's got a bit of moonlight sort of encroaching into that there on the edge, but you can see the comet it's had quite a tail for some time, and it's a beautiful comet. When we look at comets, it depends on our perspective from where we are on Earth and where the comet is in relation to Earth and the Sun, as to quite often how long the tail is. Sometimes the tail's pointing directly away from us. And comets can have ion tails or dust tails. And you'll remember over Christmas the spectacular comet Lovejoy that we had, which was quite amazing, where it was a sun-grazing comet that had a dust and an ion tail, and it went round the back of the sun. The solar wind blew it away for a couple of days, and when it came back, it had this beautiful long tail that just was very long across the southern skies particularly. So we've had a fair treat of comets later. I've just got another, can you see that okay? What I might do is throw up another one I've got here, which is Comet Linear, which I took just a few minutes ago. These are 300-second images, so 5-minute images. I've just got Linear. Now, you can see here in Comet Linear that the tail is pointing pretty much away from us, it's that little fuzzy one right in the center. It doesn't have a very long tail, this one, but yeah, you can see in the center of the image there, just a fuzzy star, and that's Comet Linear. Probably can't quite get it, but in this image it's probably a bit too wide angle. But the comets often look like an asteroid with a fuzzy tail when they're first discovered, and it just depends how far out they are from the sun or how close they are as to how long that tail gets. So the solar wind hitting the comet can cause an outburst of its tail, and depending on its makeup, how much ice and dust is there, and how far out from the sun it is, as to how good the tail is. That's probably not the best. So I'll go back to the other image. So they're the main two comets, bright comets that are in the sky at the moment. So I'll just go back to the other one again so I can have a look at it.
Sure. Well, I want to go see. I'm going to switch over to actually Gary's view right now because he's got a great cluster there.
This is M13.
Phenomenal.
13th thing that Charles Messier, right?
Yeah.
Scott found
Messier, yeah.
Found looking through the sky, and you can probably tell everybody a little more about it.
It's neither cleaner nor messier. It's Messier.
Yeah, so M13, this is located in the constellation of Hercules, and again, for me, this is summer. So when I see this, I think summer.
And that's a 10-second exposure.
It's a 10-second exposure, wow.
Right.
And so it's probably the biggest, brightest globular cluster that we get. You guys all laugh when I say globular cluster. How do you say it, Peter, in Australia?
Globular, yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
Like the rest of the world.
Like the rest of the world. But it's just a beautiful object in Hercules. And again, it's very easy to find, right? Hercules, if you know where Hercules is, you can see the sort of 4 stars of his chest, and then M13 is over from my perspective anyway, it's on the right-hand side, about halfway up and down on the chest. It's very easy to see. You can almost see it, like with a pair of binoculars, you can absolutely see it.
And one funny, or I think interesting to me, is that actually it was discovered by Edmund Halley in 1714, but it was cataloged by Messier 50 years later in 1764. So Messier, who's known for cataloging things, isn't necessarily the person who discovered them or found that particular object. It was actually done by Halley, which we all know for Halley's Comet. But this cluster here is actually around 145 light years across. It's massive, large distance that they're still all clumped together and are extremely old stars that are in there.
Yeah, I mean, in many cases, these globular clusters were formed back at the beginning of only a little after the beginning of the universe itself.
Right.
So
a lot of the globular clusters there, they around 12 billion years old with a B. My Carl Sagan, billions and billions. They're 12 billion years old. So these are a lot of the remnants that we can see from the Big Bang. We can use these to look at newer objects or more open clusters we can find at different parts of the galaxy. These tend to be in the halo region.
And Scott, originally weren't these thought of to be older than the universe was, that paradox there?
Well, it depends on how old you thought the universe was. So, for a while there, before Hubble was able to find this, I guess range of how old the universe was by the expansion, there wasn't anybody that knew how old it was. At first, we thought it was static, so we had no idea it was expanding to even think there was a Big Bang from where it came from. And over the last, it's probably around 30 years after the discovery of the expansion of the universe, they've been toying back and forth trying to find out exactly how long, because of measuring the redshift of the light coming from these galaxies that are expanding further away from us, or faster the further away from us they are.
Oh, so Chris just told me he's got the lunar X in view. So Chris, what is this?
Well, I'm not sure. Everybody was asking me out in the comments section to get the Lunar X. I don't really know what makes it, but I know it's just a. I mean, Scott might be able to tell us a little bit better. Yeah.
X
I
marks
think
the spot.
we need to dig there and find out what's underneath.
And it looks like I'm about ready to lose the view, so.
Isn't that where they buried General Zod?
All right, so Howard, we haven't had a chance to hear from you yet. So what have you got here? I don't know if he's been waiting so long.
Howard,
I don't know.
are you muted over there?
I just love that. You hear crickets afterwards.
Yeah, we're hearing crickets over Chris's house. So you know he's outside. Yeah. All right. Why don't we move over to Roy?
I think what he's on is the Black Eye Galaxy, isn't it?
So Roy, is this? Did you just take this picture?
Yes, I did.
Wow. So this is the pinwheel?
That is the pinwheel, M101.
Beautiful.
That's phenomenal.
That's a 2-minute exposure.
Right. So that's a big long exposure.
Yeah.
That's like a Gary length exposure.
I'm doing a
2 minutes in Gary's scope, it'd look a lot better.
I'm doing a 1 minute on it right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since Roy said I needed to do that.
Yeah, you can really see the even if I change the brightness of it just a bit here, you can see more of the dust lanes coming out of it.
Yeah, that's great.
And there's a couple other, I have no idea what they are. I don't know if you can see my mouse cursor, but there's another one over here.
Is it like interacting with another galaxy?
No, it's just another galaxy in the field of view, but I don't know which one it is. There's a bunch of other little things in here.
And I know that M101 does have some companion galaxies in the area. I'm trying to figure out what we're seeing there.
Yeah, M101 is located in Ursa Major, right? So it's near the Big Dipper.
And yeah, I know for sure NGC 5474 and 5477 are in that group. And I believe also last year there was a Type 1A supernova out of there.
Yes.
I think last August.
Now, Chris, do you think if you're going to lose the moon, do you want to see if you can get Saturn?
I can sure give it a try.
That'd be great.
Okay.
And then Peter, what have you got there?
So I've got M106, which is a beautiful galaxy. It's kind of, I think it's a barred spiral that's sort of tilted with some gravitational interaction with something else, and it's sort of like one of those ones that looks like a floppy hat that the wind's blowing.
Yeah, it does.
It up on.
Yeah.
It's, I'm not sure if you can see it there. Yeah, it looks good.
No, I can definitely see the bar in there.
Looks fine from here.
How long is your exposure on this?
Just might zoom that out a little bit for you. Might be a bit clearer. But yeah, it's a stunning galaxy.
And are you still working on yours? Oh, so here's Gary's pinwheel.
That's a 1 minute exposure, and it is 85 seconds into a 2 minute exposure.
All right.
But yeah, that's the guy.
Looks like you're binning it. This one?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a 4x4 bin.
Yeah.
So it'll download the new ones shortly.
So M106 is in the constellation Canis Venatici.
That's right. It's got a fair bit of colour in it too. When you take colour image of it, it's a beautiful image in colour.
Yeah, there's quite a phenomenal picture of it over on the. Whoa.
Jeez.
There we go. There's Saturn. I love the cricket. That is really great. Who's providing the crickets? Because I think you just muted.
That would be me.
That's.
Oh,
Scott
that's
muted.
you, Roy. Okay.
No, that's Chris.
Oh, it's Chris's. Okay.
Yeah, Scott muted me, but I hit the unmute. I was finished.
Finished with the motorcycle behind you?
All the noise all around me. So.
That's great. So which one are you on here? Is this the DSLR? Or is this the
No, this is
the
the
webcam?
This is the Logitech webcam.
How do you think it would look in the DSLR?
Very small and hard to point out, or hard to pick out.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I haven't figured out yet how to do the DSLR to make it look good. It's been pretty difficult because, like I said, with the focal reducer on or off, I'm not sure if it's the CCD being so large is what makes it smaller. I'm not real sure what causes it, but it's about half the size of what you're seeing now with the DSLR.
That's just great.
And this is without the Barlow, so this is just straight through.
And just so everyone knows, those are not ears. Those are rings.
That's what Galileo thought, yeah. Galileo thought these were ears. Handles. Grab Saturn.
That's right. Get back here.
Let's get, all right, let's compare now. So we've got Gary's 2-minute.
Yeah, that's a 2-minute, and here's the other galaxy that Roy was seeing. So
And there's
see
Roy's.
the scale.
So this is the same object, and so on Gary's view, we've got his 14-inch, right, Gary?
Correct.
14-inch with, but you can see it's really wide. So if you didn't bin it, what would we be seeing?
If I didn't bin it, it would just be a bigger picture. And to get the whole thing in the picture, I would still need to bring it down. So to show here, let me, I'll zoom in a little bit.
But the binning process, do you have to do that as you're gathering the image? Like if you wanted to do a non-bin version, would you have to go back and,
Correct.
and
Correct.
do another one? Right, okay.
I have to set the camera for that and tell it to bin it.
Right.
There's
So
zooming in a little bit.
Is that zoom in on yours 100%?
It's a good question. I've been using Maxim DL, and I don't know where it tells me what percentage I'm at zoom.
Up at the top, there should be a toolbar up there.
Now, can you create a color image, Roy?
I can, but it would take about 6 minutes.
Can you do a shorter exposure?
I can do a shorter exposure and see how much comes out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean your pictures are just, I mean, like, I really like the way you're doing this now. I mean, you've got just a phenomenal view now.
Yeah, it's interesting that mine's 2 minutes and Gary's is 2 minutes, but Gary has to, since he's in massive light pollution, he has to go through a hydrogen alpha filter where this is a luminance. There's no filter really other than blocking infrared light.
That's just
you've got
natural
a
light,
much
yeah.
darker sky than I do.
So I've got my darker sky with no filter in front of it, his darker sky, and it just shows you how fast his optics are compared to mine, where he's blocking out a lot of the light, but he can take the same length of exposure.
So, Chris, a lot of people were glad that you were able to get Lunar X. Nice work.
Thank you. I was pretty happy about it. It's the first time I've ever seen it myself. So
I guess it's just it only appears at the exact right time of the month to get the right shadow.
yeah, I've seen images of it, but I've never really found I've never really read into it to see what caused it or when you could see it.
Oh, Howard, did you want to? You're back. We tried to reach you before. Are you there now? Oh, you're muted, I think. I think you're muted, Howard.
I think so too.
Yeah. Can't hear you.
I'll shoot him an email.
There's a chat here.
Now, Pamela was here. Fraser should be telling us about now to everyone to +1 and
Yeah, I know.
share the hangout. So we should probably
Everybody, we actually
invite
don't.
people
Well,
to
I mean,
+1.
the +1s are helpful, but they've actually implemented something in the system that lets us see how many people are watching. So we actually now have better numbers.
Which was definitely crazy last week.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, typically we get about 100 people
Bills?
live. Yeah, and we were doing the live view of the telescope, the live view of the eclipse, and Scott was actually the one capturing the images with his telescope, and I think we had about 1,700 people at the peak, so it was a zoo.
Yeah, and that was my first time streaming, and you guys all have mad props for doing this all the time. I'm much more comfortable on this side of the camera than on that side, because lots of pressure. Then to come to find out 1,700 people were watching just blew my mind afterwards.
Well, and I mean, you had laptops running out of batteries and pretty bad
People were
internet.
dividing by 0 in the tech point all over
Yeah.
the place. It was going kind of crazy, but we pulled it off. We had a great show, and we had a
Yeah,
great.
it was good. Of all, I think of all the views that we saw, I actually think your view through the telescope was the best view that I saw on every feed that we tried to look at. I think you had the best view of all of them. So.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
I want to.
So we're going to try and
recreate.
recreate. We're going to try and recapture that with the upcoming transit of Venus, which is going to be on June 5th and 6th. So
That's
we're going to be again doing a great big hangout. We'll be broadcasting with as many solar telescopes as we can get our hands on, and we'll try
I'll be traveling down towards down by Mexico with my new friend out there, Jerry Hilburn from San Diego Astronomy Association. So we're getting that all set up, and he's got an amazing compound out there. So hopefully we can get a great stream coming from down there. Are we still linking up with Alaska, even though Pamela's not going?
I'm not sure what's happening, but we've got quite a few telescopes that we're going to be getting involved. So, Chris, were you planning on showing it? I'm not sure he's still around. He's gone offline. But no, this is really cool. So you can see Roy's sort of shifting through his colors. So I saw the red one before. Which one is this, Roy? Is this the color
That
version?
is the red and the green combined. And I messed up the red one. I left my camera in my observatory on with my infrared lights, so you can see a really bad red band down the bottom of that one in the corner. It's the filter I was using before. It blocks out all that IR light, but these ones don't.
Right.
So as soon as I seen the red ones mess up, I went and I flipped that camera off.
And then, so Howard, what picture is this? No, he's still muted.
Still sounds like it.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yes, Fraser, I'm going to be doing the transit of Venus. Sorry, I was muted.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. That sounds good. So yeah, we'll be in touch.
I'm trying to get Saturn bar load, get it a little bit bigger and better here.
Oh, that'd be phenomenal. Okay, great.
This is where I have trouble, though.
Well, don't worry. We'll all make fun of you if it doesn't go through.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, Peter? Did you want to move on to something else? You still got the same object, and then
Yeah, I've just got M66 coming down. It should be ready in a second.
Okay, great.
Restart that. That red was just too big.
And then Gary, have you got anything else? You're back to M13. Is that right,
No,
or is that
this
different?
This is M92.
M92. Okay, of course.
Looks a little bit different. And,
a little bit different. It's not quite as big, right?
You can't tell, Fraser?
I can't tell. I can't. Yeah.
Yeah,
Globular cluster.
There you go. Wow, you sound like an American now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Hey?
The other way that people can tell I'm Canadian is when I say pasta.
Pasta?
Yeah. And
Or
Americans
you could
say
be a Bostonian though too.
Oh, do you? Okay, yeah. Americans tend to say pasta. But then
But
here
I always know when you go Tim Hortons, eh? And then
Tim Hortons, yeah, that's what you do. Tim Hortons isn't that big over here on the West Coast.
No, that's true.
The only place is with a Starbucks on two opposite corners of a street in Vancouver. So they're kitty corners. You got a Starbucks in one corner, and then you can go right across the other corner and there's another Starbucks.
In Toronto, there's an intersection outside of the theme park that has Tim Hortons on 3 of the corners.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
That is awesome.
No, not good. That's great.
I haven't seen a Tim Hortons in 7 years, so that is awesome.
So M92. This is where we need Pamela and Phil. We need to bring the science.
Yeah.
And this
So
is one of
got-
those older clusters that we have been able to use to roughly estimate the age of the universe to that roughly 14.2 billion years. This is one of those older clusters that we've been able to use the photometry with and the spectroscopy and actually study and see the redshifting using the Hubble constant and trying to find out. That is right there, Messier 92. One of those wonderful things that let us astronomy nerds look at the numbers and the graphs, and which I am doing all over right now on my little whiteboard been working on. But it's great because not only do they look pretty, but there's a lot of information we can get out of these objects by studying how they're composed and how gravity works on them over time and over billions of years.
And this is actually M3. I switched over. So we had 92 a minute ago. Now this is M3.
So it's our third globular cluster.
Yep.
Let's see.
It's the summer. Well, and the two of them are both in the constellation Hercules, right? M92 is in Hercules, and M13 is in Hercules. And unfortunately, because we don't have any people from the southern hemisphere or any telescopes from the southern hemisphere, we can't see the Omega cluster, Omega Centauri. Isn't there? There's a big cluster in the southern hemisphere that we just don't get.
Yeah, that's a beauty, that one, and of course it's broad daylight in that part of the world at the moment. See, that's
otherwise, you'd be there, right?
time of day.
You'd
that's
have
right.
it for us. Do you have a telescope? Like that you can set up in the backyard, Peter?
Yeah, I have a backyard telescope. It's just a Star Watcher, the smart Dobby with smart Dobsonian with I should admit to an iPhone adapter connected to the eyepiece, which I take moonshots with that with, which works pretty well.
And so what have you got now, Peter?
So I've got M66 there now, Fraser. That's another galaxy in Leo. It's one of the Leo triplet galaxies, and beautiful little tight spiral galaxy there, and plenty of colour in it when you do a colour image again. It's beautiful image.
Oh, Chris is back with Saturn.
I didn't get my Barlow to work, but so I just got it back in the view.
Oh, it looks great. No, it still looks great. And then Roy, you see you switched to yellow.
Yeah, I'm redoing that shot to get that red out of it. But it's got about 45 seconds left.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's going to be a good picture. So people can see how this is done. So what's sort of your specific technique to do this?
This one I'm just letting the software do it. Normally, I would take 3 color images on the same night, or 3 different filters on the same night. I'll spend the entire night just doing red, and I'll take like 4 hours of it, and then the next night 4 hours of that, and stack all of those together. You're not going to get that good of an image or crisp of an image when it's just 3, just because of all the noise.
Mm-hmm. But do you lose something when you're like, because the scene's going to be different on different nights, right?
Yes. So there's all 3. Probably about the best quality it's going to come out at.
Oh, that looks great. You can definitely see the pinwheel, and you can see a bit of the color.
That's really nice.
And how long were those exposures? Like a minute?
Those were 90 seconds apiece.
Yeah.
So
and so you've got like 3 different filters that you can fit over the telescope?
Yeah, there's the filter wheel on the telescope. It'll automatically choose whichever filter is needed. I've got red, green, blue, hydrogen alpha, and clear, or luminance in it. So it'll automatically go through and take a 90 second with the red, then take a 90 second with the green, and a 90 second with the blue, and automatically stack them. That's why when you saw the first one, it was just the background was red, and then when the next one come through, it automatically stacked the red and the green together. That's why everything looked yellow. And then when it finally did the blue, it stacked that into it, and it's a more full color image.
One thing I love about this galaxy is the fact it's about 70% larger than our Milky Way galaxy. And we live in a fairly decent-sized galaxy, the Milky Way, and this is about 170,000 light years across. It's an enormously wide galaxy, and just the way everything's distributed is beautiful.
And it's nice that we're seeing it face on. We're looking right down the barrel of the core.
Yeah, it's a really nice galaxy. It's the one I've been spending most of my time on the last couple of weeks. It's just this galaxy.
So does this got to be sort of breaking your heart to take a picture at this low resolution? when you're doing 4-hour screen grabs, right?
My images on this one individually are 10-minute exposures.
Wow.
So it just sits there all night long and takes a 10-minute exposure, refocuses, takes a 10-minute exposure, refocuses, and just sits there and does it all night long.
Wow.
That is awesome.
That is.
No. And there's Saturn again. So you can see a bit. You can see the bands across the planet. You can see. Oh, I can't see the Cassini division. So that's the gap in the rings. And I see a bit of the shadow behind the planet of the...
I may need to adjust my focus just a smidge.
Yeah, it looks a little out of focus, but... I mean, think about the constraints that we're dealing with here.
No excuse, Chris. You've been on disability for a little while. You should have this down.
I'm used to doing deep sky, not planetary. It's hard. It's a lot different. Yeah. And with the webcam, it's a cheap computer webcam, so that's probably about the best I can get right there.
But the things you can do with that cheap webcam is awesome.
Yeah, I can't believe how well you're doing with the webcam. Now next week I expect the DSLR to be rolling.
On Saturn?
On Saturn, yeah.
But you need to fly out to Mars first so you can get a better view.
Get a better view. Yeah. Is that another cluster, Gary?
Yes, that one is M53. So just moving between those. This time of year, the stuff that I'm good at getting just isn't much. It's going to be the middle of July before we start really getting the nebula back up into the summer sky. So,
yeah, I guess that's true, right? You've got all of these big, beautiful, Ryan Nebula and the Horsehead and the I'm trying to think what else you're able to get, the Rosette. And so all those are down.
Yep, yep. And then we're coming up in the summer sky now, where I'll have the, and I just went blank. Several of them. Anyway.
You got the Swan and the Eagle Nebula and.
Exactly. Yeah, the center of our galaxy comes up during the summer, so there's just so much stuff there. It's wonderful. I just wish it got dark a little earlier.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're in Los Angeles, so it's better for you than it is for me. I mean, it just got dark here now, so closing in on 10 now.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah.
And I've been dark for a while here, so. I've got the Eagle nice and high in the sky right now.
Well, take a picture of it.
Well, that means having to switch my cameras as long as Fraser's okay with that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
you
good.
Have to keep Saturn at the same time.
Let's say goodbye to Saturn, and then if you want to switch to something else, that would be fine, Chris.
Okay.
I will permit it.
That works.
Thus saith the Fraser.
Yeah.
Be the first one of the season.
What's that? Oh, the first Eagle.
Yeah, the first live Eagle. The other ones we were doing were photos.
That's right,
Yeah,
but
that
everybody
is
had a
true.
photo of it. It was great. Everyone brought up their own photo of it within 5 minutes.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Pillars of Creation. You can't reach it yet, Gary, right? There's Gary's.
It's gonna be right on the horizon if it is.
Yeah, there's Gary's telescope
10
looming
degrees
over.
maybe.
He's got something.
Either a mountain or a tree. We were just talking earlier about all those trees that pop up. They just move into his way all the time. You have to figure out what's going on in Gary's backyard.
And what's that, Roy?
This is the Iris Nebula. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it because it's very faint.
Is it the one that kind of looks like two overlapping circles, like a...
You might be thinking
No.
of Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
So it was the Iris Nebula you had?
Iris, yeah.
Okay.
Iris Nebula, NGC 7023.
Yeah.
It's a really nice full color object when you take all the colors. I mean, it's an emission nebula, and it's a lot of blue in it versus the red that you normally see. It looks really good.
I don't know, Gary, you could probably grab that.
Yeah, which one's it called? The Iris Nebula?
Yeah, it's NGC 7023. It's right now it's pretty low. It's a northern object, so it's going to be about 25 degrees in the north. So I don't know how well your dome's going to play with it.
Okay,
And it's what is that? I'm trying to see what the size is.
Yeah, I need a much longer exposure. That was a 90-second right there, and it's just not coming out.
I mean, I believe it's only around a little over 1,000 light years away, maybe 1,300. I don't think it's not going to be that very that large in diameter.
No, it's not. It's well, this right here is 50% my resolution for this camera and this scope, and it's still pretty good size in this for field of view. Let me I'll pull up one that I've done in the past. Oop, just moved the wrong window.
This is your monitoring system.
Yeah, I was trying to move that window and... Okay, move that other way. Let me pull one of those up. I hadn't taken an image of this in almost a year, I think.
Are you focused on the same object, Gary?
No, at the moment, I've just moved over to the object, but this is M67, an open cluster that I just thought I'd show off here. Now I'm on the...
Oh, wow.
That's the one I took last year.
Oh, phenomenal.
So it's another object I want to get to this year because it's got a lot of really dark clouds in it that don't reflect, and then the center, just, it's really a great object.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's great.
It's actually one of the few that's got that really blue color about it too. It's quite
that's
good
what
at
I
the blue
really...
end of the spectrum.
Yeah, that's what I really like about it.
I love the blue ones with those dusty clouds, you know, and you can actually see through the cloud of dust the stars behind it there, which is quite amazing.
That was
Wow, that's just phenomenal.
That was a long exposure, right?
Yeah. These were probably 15-minute subs and all night long.
Yeah.
And I think this was actually done with my DSLR. So this was done with a one-shot color.
That's great. I just love how you can see where the absorption is and still seeing behind it and all the different, the different stars and galaxies through and in front. It's beautiful.
I want to do it again this year and do it right, because this was, I didn't have a lot of, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just pointing and taking pictures.
There's a whole lot of that in this business.
So Tom Nath explains about the Lunar X. The Lunar X appears about every other month at first quarter. It's just a raised area where several craters meet. So that was the Lunar X. Thanks, Tom. So now you know, Chris. Now you know what you had in view. Okay, Howard, are you able to hear us?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I don't know what happens when that happens.
Technology.
I had to log out, start over.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the Butterfly Nebula, IC 1318. It's just a picture I took in the last couple. I thought it was pretty. There's a lot of neat stuff in that one if you get a wider angle lens or a wider angle telescope, and that one was not running at the time I took this. So,
have you captured that before, Gary? The butterfly?
I don't think I have.
I don't think it's up where we are here. This was taken from the Canaries.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's more south.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's probably why I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it surprised me too. But I look at the stock pictures, and there's a whole lot more in there than I'm showing. So the butterfly's towards the top left side, and I notice now that I'm showing all these flipped over. So
the top right side.
Top right side, yeah.
Yeah, that's how the Hangout works. Is you see yourself flipped
backwards,
mirrored, and so I guess it acts like a mirror. Otherwise, you'd be really freaked out if you held up one hand and it was on the other side. So.
Yeah.
It takes some while getting used to. Even though you know that this is going to be coming through a certain way, it still kind of freaks you out. Well,
part of it as well is the fact that when you see yourself in a picture, you don't like the way you look because you're seeing whenever you look at yourself in the mirror, you're seeing yourself flipped around, and so the symmetry in your face, you're seeing it the reversed way, and so then when you see the photograph, that's what you really look like, and so but you actually find that really uncomfortable to see that. It's like hearing your own voice. When we were doing the Astronomy Cast, when we first started doing it, it took me a while to get over the fact that it wasn't my voice, right? I hated the sound of my voice. Now I'm just used to that other guy that does that podcast, and I'm used to his voice, right? Yeah, but
That's the other personality living inside of you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not like I think of it as my voice. I think of it as my radio voice. I'm comfortable with it. It doesn't bother me anymore.
So I have a question for you then. If
not
that's
me.
your radio voice and you're Fraser Cain, is that Fraser Crane that's coming out?
Yeah, you are the first person to ever make that joke.
I know.
I'll bet.
Yeah. And I always
you said it's his
remind
radio
people. I always remind people that I had the name first.
That's true.
First person to mention it in public.
Aw.
No,
I'm a
not
pioneer.
the first person to
I'm a
mention it in
pioneer.
public. Yeah. Good. Well, unless Chris pulls something out of a hat and shows us the Eagle Nebula in a second, I think we're gonna call this for tonight.
Yeah, this is my shot of the. This is a 2-minute.
Oh, that's good. I can see it.
7023. You can see some of the dark lanes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And the other great
It
question
really looks
for us
good.
to ponder is
It
why
looks
are
good
you?
in hydrogen alpha too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in hydrogen alpha. Why are you flipped in the mirror but not upside down?
Why are you flipped in the mirror but not upside down? Oh, good question. Are you? Do you know why?
Yeah.
You gotta tell us, are you?
It's a tough one though. You got to think about it a while.
I've got my eagle there now, Fraser. But that's
Oh,
an
that's
old,
the eagle. That's nice.
an old footage of it from a photo I took a couple of.
There's the pillars.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're about to see another eagle off here, aren't we?
No, you're not going to see mine because mine's at home.
Okay.
That's not a live image. It's file footage.
I'll restrain
Yeah,
myself.
that's nice.
What do you got there, Chris? Is that the eagle? He's still muted.
That is the eagle.
Yeah, if you wanted to keep this going for another hour, they'll start coming up. Then you get the Northern
Yeah, there's a whole
Nebula.
bunch of stuff.
The veil starts coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, we get what we get at this time.
And it's a holiday tomorrow. Nobody's going to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to come
Well, I can
up, but-
definitely feel that it's the holiday because we're down in the viewership tonight.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, we get
Oh,
about
that's-
7 degrees more each week, so hang in there.
That's the swan. Okay. So Chris just told me that's the swan.
Oh, really?
Excellent. Well, I think at this point we're about an hour in, so I think I'm going to wrap this up. So thanks to everybody for
Great.
joining us this week for our virtual star party, and thanks again to Chris and Gary and Howard and Peter and Roy, and thanks a lot to Scott for helping explain the science. So I'm not sure whether Pamela's going to be around, whether we're going to be recording Astronomy Cast tomorrow. If not, then I'm not sure what the next thing is. I guess it's going to be the Science Hour on Wednesday, and then we'll be doing our weekly Space Hangout on Thursday. So and then also definitely want to watch June 5th and 6th. We'll be doing the live transit of Venus across the surface of the Sun with a whole bunch of telescopes. So stay tuned. Thanks, everybody,
Great.
and we'll see you all
All
next
right.
time.
Thanks a
Have
lot.
a great
Good
night,
night.
everyone.
all right. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.